Well, welcome to another episode of the Backlog Breakdown. I'm Nate. Um, my co-host Josh is not with us right now. I think he's going to be joining us here in a little bit, but I am joined by another Josh. Maybe even in some ways a superior Josh.
Oh
But
man,
friend of the show, Josh Lofthus, has graced us with his presence again. So it's good to have you back on the mics here, buddy.
it's good to be here, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Yeah. I don't know about a better Josh, but at least another Josh.
Another Josh. You know,
Yes.
I don't know if you ever got maybe last time when you were on, we shared the story about how like we would do these book club episodes, and the one guest, his name was Josh, but his handle was
Mm.
Amazed by Grace 86 or whatever, and so I just called him
Yeah.
Amazing Josh, and Broccolo by
Oh, there you
default
go.
just became Trash Josh. Because it's
Oh,
it,
ouch. Okay.
so
Yeah.
but I think
Well,
I've
well. I mean, my nickname in high school was um, Lofty because my last name's Loftus, so I could be Lofty Josh.
Lofty Josh, soar like
Yeah,
aiming for
that
those
works.
heights, soaring, kind of.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
I
Yes.
like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Taking
like
us
it.
higher. You know.
Take it like really classing the act up. But yeah,
Yes.
so and I guess like before we get too far into it, like just so everybody knows, like it's autumn,
Mhm.
which is the best season. It's time
It is.
for
Amen to that.
like, dude, I mean, and we're gonna be talking about this a little bit, but it's like it's totally flannel weather. Like dudes with beards, we
Mhm.
are like in our prime. Like the evenings are like outstanding
Exactly.
weather for like a nice cup of coffee, maybe a hot toddy, like a
Yep.
cigar. If you're a
There you go.
white girl and you're kind of basic, it's pumpkin spice latte season. Like, you know,
Dressing up like Han Solo,
yeah,
the
yeah,
tall boots and the vest. Oh yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. You've heard of hot boy summer. This is fat guy fall.
I
Right.
when you
This is our time.
when you said that, I actually almost texted you when I was listening to the one of the most recent episodes of the Cluckcast, and I was like, dude, you said "fat guy fall," and I was like, I'm
Yeah.
so vibing with this. Like, yes,
Take
like
it. Take it and run with it. We got to make fat guy fall a thing. This is where we shine, because you know what? We're no longer in the shorts and the t-shirts that's like showing off my all my voluptuous curves.
yeah,
Like this is flannel. This is sweatpants, sweaters. Man,
mm,
this is our time.
yes, yes, I'm all about it. Like, we don't need hot girl summer, we don't need hot boy summer, we need fat guy fall.
No,
Yeah, but
that's exactly. And the world needs it.
yeah,
Not just us. The
yeah.
world needs
I
this.
mean,
Yeah.
we got football going on. It's just like, yeah, best time of the year right now. We're getting ready to roll into like spooky vibes, which like, listen, I'm not a
Oh
horror
yeah.
guy. I like horror movies. Like, I'm like, I can't do it. Like, I don't know.
Sure.
I'm a combat vet, Josh, right? So like in a lot of ways, like
Okay.
physical threat, like I can prepare myself for that. But like you throw like the
Sure.
supernatural
Sure.
element, especially in a movie, and I lose my mind. I'm like, no, thank
Mm,
you. Like, heart out.
sure.
Like
Sure.
vampires,
It,
ghosts.
it it's not something I can shoot, blow up, or stab. Therefore, I'm out of my element.
Yeah,
Right.
if I can't punch this thing, like I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. No, I get it, man. I totally understand. Yeah.
Like zombies don't even bother me that much because you can punch a zombie. Like, I mean, now they might
Well,
bite
yeah.
you and
Well,
turn you
and
into a
most
zombie.
combat exactly most combat vets I know actually long for being in a zombie apocalypse situation, just because it gives them the excuse. Right. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, it's like I like all that training. Yeah, but anyways,
Exactly.
so we're going to be later on. We're going to be talking about sort of, and I've lovingly sort of dubbed this, seasonal gaming disorder. But it's not a disorder. It's just like
Yeah.
certain seasons throughout certain vibes and certain games. Just I think like they're going to just sort of like it's going to be I don't know, but well, we'll get into it, like the
Mhm.
pretext and what we're all about. But I have a segment here, or we have a segment on the show called "It's Well When I Go, yeah, it's Ben," an undisclosed amount of time since I talked to you, or 2 weeks or whatever. But it has been an undisclosed amount of time since I talked to you, dude. It's
Sure.
been a while since you've been on the show. What's good? What's sort of like happening these days, man? Like,
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's probably same old, man. So just living here in Washington, right?
mm,
Just kind of, an hour, 45 minutes without traffic, north of Seattle. So, everything that Washington has to offer these days, I'm just indulging in that, whether I want to or not. So high real estate, high taxes,
mm,
all of that good stuff. But just working, doing local church stuff, man, just serving in church and doing the pulpit thug thing. So going around preaching at churches that need
a
their
pulpit
pastors
thug.
either. Yep, that's what I am. That's what I call myself. I'm a pulpit thug.
I
So I
like
go
it.
around. Yeah, it fits. It does. Um, so yeah, doing that, and then obviously the podcast stuff. So I'm editing podcasts, creating intros for folks, and doing kind of the client thing. But then I've also got my own that I'm working on, Cluck, and then the Reformatory. So that's most of my time. Most of the time, keeping me busy, and then throwing movies, TV shows, and specific video games here and there when I can, when I have time, and
Yeah.
that's where I'm at. I just got a new shipment. I don't know if your people are into this, but listeners of the Reformatory won't be surprised. I just got a new shipment of cigars in today because I was out.
Dude, I'm gonna
Uh,
need you to like, not on mic, but at some point in time, I'm gonna
yeah.
need you to school me on cigar bids because I saw that haul
Oh yeah.
and I was like, yo, some of that stuff you were pulling down for like stupid cheap. And I
Oh
was
yeah.
I was like
Oh yeah.
kind of jelly. Um,
Yeah, no. Cigar bid's the way to go, man. And they don't, they're not going to have like the crazy selection that just a regular cigar shop will have. But sometimes they got some gems, and you got to know how to work it. You have to know like when to refresh the page, when to click bid, all that stuff. So there's a science to it. We can figure it out, and you'll be getting some crazy deals here in no time.
yeah, dude, I'm looking forward to that and
Yeah.
getting schooled. Yeah, I actually just so I have like I do a lot of my ordering through Cigars International. Um,
Oh yeah, sure.
and they
Yeah.
have a couple like bundles and sort of like deals that I like to when I when I need to refresh. But I've
Mhm.
actually sort of been in sort of like the give me like the weird 15 sticks, like just like give me the shotgun approach where it's like you just pick
Sure.
like 15 sticks and like I might have had like three of them, and I'm just like, let's sort of like broaden our horizons a little bit because like
Sure. Yeah.
I know what I like, and so because I am a man of like sort of like I'm very habitual. So like I
Mhm.
like the CAO flathead, or the 660 in particular. I like Rocky Patel decades. I like Rocky Patel Sangro Maduros. I like Alex Bradley Prensados. Like those are like my sort of like constant rotations. And a lot
Sure.
of times what I'll do is I'll just keep those in the box and I don't smoke anything else. But it's like there's a ton
Yeah.
of stuff out there that
Oh yeah.
I know I would like. And so I'm just like, well, like I don't really care for Connecticut's, but like I'll smoke one every once in a while. So
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean that is kind of the cool thing about. I mean, that's the cool thing about pretty much anything that is a hobby that you enjoy, whether it's video games or music or cigars or fill in the blank, is it's all subjective, right? And
mhm.
unless you're smoking like Swisher Sweets, you're not wrong, right? But I do have a standard. I have standards I have to keep.
We do have
All
some
right.
standards.
Yes.
They, they, they might not be the highest, but
But hey, you know what? A standard's a standard, though,
they're
right? And this
there.
one is mine.
They're
So
in
yeah,
place. So
yeah. This is my standard. I can do it. I can do what it says I can do. Whatever the spiel is.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. But well, things like I said for me, I guess since we last talked or whatever, yeah, things are just they kind of sometimes sometimes working for the United States postal system is not as much fun as it would seem. I know I get those like sexy shorts.
Ah, I mean,
Um,
it just sounds like just a riveting job, though.
uh, dude, I'll be honest. Uh-oh, here he is.
Have we
Maybe
been inundated?
Yeah, he can edit this out in post. But yeah, no, it's kind of like the I don't know. It's just we're getting ready to get. This is actually like prime weather for me. Like I'm sort of
Yeah,
like I'm I'm loving it. It's like
yeah.
60s all the time. It's like shorts and sweatshirt kind of weather, but yeah.
That is the greatest combo. Like I am a shorts year round kind of guy. Like always, always.
Mhm.
I will wear long pants if I have to, and it's
Mhm.
normally if I'm preaching or yeah, that's really the only time. If I can get away with wearing shorts, I will. But that shorts, what you just described, either the shorts and flannel or shorts and hoodie, there's no greater combo than that.
Hey-oh. There he is. Are you there, buddy? Uh-oh. He's already got technical difficulties. You there, Josh?
That's a no. And he's gone.
You there, buddy?
I hear him. We can hear him. He just can't hear us.
uh, yeah, uh-oh. It's like every time I'm gonna.
Tell him to go into his input settings. He's got to switch the input to his headphones instead of his mic.
Well, dude, it's like literally Zencaster just does not like cooperating with his setup.
You guys should just do it over Skype.
We used to,
Easier.
we used to,
Yeah.
and
Zoom also has it.
we started doing Zencaster because it was easier, and then within the last like 3 months, it just kind of like started pooping the bed
What
on.
was easier? What was easier about Zencaster over Skype?
It it's like one click and it does everything. We didn't
Hmm.
like, and it's high quality, like decent. It's like high quality video and audio.
Yeah, got it.
Um, and so, but it's like it does not. It like the last well, and they did like a major update on it too. And so like the
Oh,
last
really?
couple of months, it we can hear something here, buddy. Oh, Broccolo.
Well, I mean, you and I can just keep talking. He'll figure it
Yeah,
out. Once,
yeah.
once. We'll see his lights. We'll see the lights go off in his eyes, and that's how we'll know he can hear us.
Oh, when he's just like, oh, I'm actually a part of this like this awful conversation. You
That's
know.
right. That's right. It's
Um,
like I can't believe I did all this work in the settings just for this.
nah, yeah, dude. So shorts. Let me ask you a
Yeah.
question. Gym shorts and
Okay.
flannel shirts. Like, are
Yeah.
is that a cluck or a suck?
So I mean, it depends on where you are. So in where I live, the Pacific Northwest, there is literally no rules whatsoever. Right. So if you want to wear, gym shorts, flannel, and cowboy boots, you're gonna fit in out here somewhere. Right.
Mm,
So for me personally, I'm not really rocking the gym shorts and then the flannel, but if it's like khaki shorts or cargo shorts or something like that, then I will rock the flannel. But if I'm doing gym shorts, the automatic default would be a sweatshirt.
mm.
That for me, or like one of those hoodies that zips.
Yeah, and so
That's me personally.
I've sort of hit like a. I can be like I believe in I think maybe you guys ripped on this one time, but cultivating an aesthetic.
Oh,
He's coming back in. Mm, 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 mm. You there, buddy?
Yes.
Okay.
What did I miss?
We were talking about gym shorts. I mean, we've already
That.
done the it's well, we started
Okay.
the it's been, and then you
Cool.
started to hop into that, and then we started talking about gym shorts, and
And skinny jeans?
I don't really
Hadn't
wear
got there yet.
We haven't gone there yet. I don't wear skinny jeans.
Yeah.
I did admit to Loftus
I
that
can't wear skinny jeans.
I can't.
There was another episode we had Logan on from the Reformed Gamers, and for some reason we talked about skinny jeans, and what we ended up talking about a skinny jeans simulator. That would be like a video game that we created. Yeah. So sorry, stupid inside joke. They usually are, but
well, now that you're in the mix here, Broccolo.
I am here. Yes,
it's been
for real this time.
an undisclosed amount of time since I talked to you. What's up, buddy?
Yeah. I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Flying by the seat of my pants here. But yes, been good. I'm trying to think of the highs and the lows and everything that's going on.
How's Josie doing, man?
She's doing good. Like seriously, after she broke her arm, it was the next day that she had some kids Tylenol. The day after that, she did as well, because she got the real cast on the day after, and then, or no, maybe it was 2 days after. Anyways, doesn't matter. It was like 3 or 4 days, maybe a little bit of kids Tylenol. Has not complained at all since then.
Cool.
Like seriously, no, yeah. Like I guess it just doesn't hurt. I mean, she's got a full arm cast, but so we're taking her to the doctor next week to take that off, to wash that stinky arm that she's got, and then take some more x-rays and check it out. But she seems to be healing really well. So
cool. Well, now that this form has been observed, let's move right on into the next bit. Let's talk about our backlog reports.
Those reports.
Lofty Josh, that's what have you been playing? What have you been sort of into lately as far as like media goes?
Yeah. So let's see. So music wise, I have been on a nostalgia kick for a while, in that I have been engaging in 1980s CCM. So we're going Petra and Striper and Whiteheart and
Nice.
Brian Duncan and the Allies and all that stuff. And I have been thoroughly enjoying myself, because I'm very past oriented. So like I go to the past and find things that in the past in order to bring comfort in the present. That's just kind of where I am.
Mm-hmm.
My wife's the exact opposite. She's very future oriented, right? So nostalgia is a huge factor for me. If something provides the amount of nostalgia that I'm looking for, I'm going to engage with that thing. And this music, it just hits me at such a place, because I remember where I was and what I was doing and the stage of life that I was in when I heard it for the first time. So music wise, I've been on a kick of the old stuff. TV wise and stuff like that. Gosh, man, what's happening right now? I feel like I think we went through all the standard ones. Like we finished, the Stranger Things, and I think we're finishing up like Parks and Rec again, just because we felt like watching it, and that's always good for a laugh.
It's a good time, man.
I'm basically Ron Swanson, and then my wife comments on this all the time.
Yes,
she knows me. And every time he's on the screen, I'm just like, yeah, no, same. I totally understand.
Ron Swanson is my spirit animal, dude.
Oh yeah, he's great. He's great.
All the eggs and bacon you have.
Yeah, that's right. So I don't think you heard me. It's so good, dude. And
his mustache, it's so glorious.
Oh, it's perfect. Yeah. He is a glorious like walrus, and it's fantastic. I love it. And then video games, man, I'm playing 2 main ones right now. Well, kind of 3 main ones. The main one that I play with friends is Sea of Thieves. I am massively into Sea of Thieves. I've been for a couple years, and I love it. It's fantastic. It is one of the best co-op games I've ever played. That's super fun. My brother just got me into a game. It's not new, but it's new to me, called Valhelm, where it's basically a Viking survival game where you're
Okay.
dropped on this island and it's in between Midgard and Valhalla, right? So
Ah.
you've perished as a warrior, and you're making your way to Valhalla, but you have to get through this middle ground for very Viking purgatory basically.
Yeah.
And it's a crafting survival game. So there's creatures you got to fight, and there's houses that you have to build, and things to gather, and it's really fun. It's just kind of one of those. I'm gonna get my axe and cut down wood for the next 45 minutes and just build chest and chest and chest, so that I'll never run out of wood. So that's fun. The main one that I am enjoying right now is I'm working through the Shadow of War games.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
These games, and again,
Yeah.
this is a nostalgia one for me. One, because it's Lord of the Rings, and I'm super nostalgic for Lord of the Rings. But two,
Okay.
it's coinciding perfect with watching Rings of Power. So
Okay.
I'm really enjoying the Rings of Power right now. I know in some circles that makes me a horrible person, but I like it. Okay, anything Lord of the Rings, I'm just
This is a safe space, Lofty.
Is this a safe space? Okay, that's good to know. I never know. All right, I never know. Like, I mentioned that, and I'm just like waiting to get slapped in the face with.
We're not gonna
of
judge
insults.
you out loud. Just
Yeah,
Not to your
well,
face.
yes, it's
I'm kidding.
that's the Christian way. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I really appreciate it. So I went full completionist mode on Shadow of
Whoa.
Mordor.
Okay.
So I got 98% of the game done. The only thing that I didn't do was collect all the different herbs, just because I was like, by that point, I'm
Okay.
like, I want to get to the story of the next one. And I just
So-
started Shadow of War.
What are you basing your completion on? Because actually, I played that one on PC, and I cleared out all the icons on the map.
Yep.
So that I considered that completion.
Yep.
But like the Steam achievements, I'm like, no, this is stupid. Like,
yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. So I'm playing that one on an Xbox console. So I don't have any of the Steam achievements that I have to worry about. But yeah, I did the same thing. I cleared the map of all icons. I branded all the orcs that I could. So like the entire army is basically in my service. And then the only thing I didn't do was collect all the little Athelas and herbs that I was just like, I'm done. So I got me to like 98%, and I called it good. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's intense.
I really liked it's been a while since I have not played Shadow of what's the is Shadow of War the second one?
That's the second one. I think it's even better than the first one.
Nice.
I really liked Shadow of Mordor. And it's like one of those things, like Shadow of War is sort of, it's in the pile, and like one of these days I'm like, I'm going to like make time for this.
Yeah. Sure.
And so
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
the story of Shadow of War, how it intersects with the Lord of the Rings, is just it's awesome. Just the background and the lore that they give you is just, it's phenomenal. It's really worth it.
Cool.
Okay. How would you say, what do you think about the story in the first game?
Oh, I love the story in the first game, but the story in the first game kind of only it gives you kind of the story of Celebrimbor, the guy who made the rings, right?
Yeah.
It gives you kind of his background, but it really just kind of stops at the point where you find out, okay, Celebrimbor made the rings, and that's about it. The second game, then it dives definitely more into that, but then you start to see the background of all the ring wraiths and kind of the aftermath of everything that happened after Celebrimbor made the rings. And it's coinciding perfectly. And obviously, I don't think they meant to do this, but playing the game while also watching Rings of Power, which is also dealing with how the Rings of Power were made. So you have some of the same characters in there. It's just it's a perfect like dopamine nostalgia hit for me, and it's coinciding perfectly. So it's awesome. I really like it.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
How about you, Josh? What have you been playing in? Or
what?
Broccoli Josh.
Broccoli Josh. Yes, jumping from Josh's here. I like it. What have I been playing? Well, I finally finished up that 100 hours of anime game that I was playing. Now, actually, it was more like 70 something, 70, somewhere between 70 and 75, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I did finish that one up. And lo and behold, towards the end of the game, it does turn into the story it's much more similar to the first game than I thought it was going to be. So I've played the first game, and I've played Chronicles X. Now I played through 2. Chronicles X is its own little deal. I really liked it, but that was more about exploring this entire new planet that you're the last surviving humans, and so you colonize a new planet. And so I love the exploration in that game. Not so much there's not much story in it. Whereas Chronicles 1 it has like a crazy story that just goes bonkers at the end. Turns out 2 is more alike to the first game than I thought from the first 55 hours that I played. So it's kind of ridiculous. I ended up really liking the game, like way more than I thought. There are some really profound things, I think, that the game poses as questions. And I was talking to some other people about it. There are some things that I really like about the Shin Megami Tensei series that this series is kind of touching on as well. However, everything of that is a spoiler, and so I can't talk about any of that. So I can't explain why I like the game because it's all spoilers, because the story, they do a lore dump in the last like quarter of the game, and so I can't really get into it. Although after playing the game, after thinking about it a while, I did just look at other people's reviews because I'm like, man, that was really cool. I really liked that. And I read a 1-star review that was basically talking about how much they hated the bad character designs and things like that. It's very all the fan service in the game basically. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I just looked past all of that, but yeah, there's a lot of that in there, and that sucks. Like, I can't in good conscience like highly recommend the game because of it. So I'm kind of two minds, but some of the themes that the game like hits on is really cool. So finished that up and then started playing just kind of on a whim, just saw it on my Switch and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that next. Is Dragon Quest 2, Luminaries of the Legendary Legacy line, or whatever the L words there are that they threw in there. But I've played the first one, and this is like the second one. This comes right after it, so you can see like the progression of what they're trying to add on. I have it on Switch, and so it's like the mobile port, so it looks weird. But like for your basic like bread and butter RPG, and I knew what I was getting into. I'm enjoying it so far for what it is. I think it's cool. It actually kind of reminds me more of the first Final Fantasy than it does the first Dragon Quest, because you have more party members, you're sailing around the whole world, stuff like that. So there's some cool stuff there. I can't recommend it because it's like really simple, basic JRPG, but I like Dragon Quest, and so I like it. So I'm having fun with it. Let's see some of the other stuff that I'm into. I know there was something that I'm reading that it doesn't come to mind immediately, so I might have to double back on that. The only thing in terms of watching that I'll throw out there is last night we had a family movie night, so we watched a kids movie that's streaming on Peacock. There's a movie called The Bad Guys. Now, it's not a great movie. It's a CGI movie. They're anthropomorphic animals that are like doing these heists. It's in terms of just like story and everything, it's okay. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. But what's really cool about it is the animation. So if you are a fan of, now this gets crazy, but if you are a fan of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and the animation in that, it is it's taking inspiration from that. So it's not as crazy as that. That movie like uses tons of different animation styles. This one doesn't do that, but it does take, it feels this, if you watch a little bit of it, it feels the same, because what they do is they create the CGI world and then they draw like pencil drawing on top of it a little bit. So it feels almost like slightly cell shaded, but it gives like I don't know. I really like hand drawings. So it gives it more life and more kind of flavor. And you could tell like heist movie stuff, they were inspired by stuff like Lupin the Third. It does. I watched some of the extra stuff there as well, and they talked about how it's a little bit anime inspired. So it's a little the human characters kind of look like something from the characters in that, what's that Pixar movie, Turning Red? I never even actually saw it, but I've seen little bits and pieces of it. So it's kind of like anime inspired CGI with drawing on top of it. Like, it has a really cool art style. So I'd say it's worth a watch. But again, don't go into it thinking it's going to be an amazing movie, because it's a kids movie. It's okay, but the animation is really cool on that one. So, those are some of the things that I've been getting into recently. And again, that book is just, I guess it didn't stick like I wanted it to stick, or something like that. So, I don't really have anything to report on in that realm. So how about you, Nate? What have you got on your report?
Well, I mean, it's Destiny 2 and Mother 3, dude. Destiny 2 is just sort of like, I really am just like kicking myself, like sort of like, that's like, if I could kick my own butt kind of for not picking this game up earlier. I probably in some ways did it the right way, but I do, like I said, like the Forsaken and some of that content that's been vaulted. I really wish I would have gotten to play that, because anyways, Destiny 2's still awesome. Mother 3, haven't made nearly as much headway as I'd like to in that game, which is not great, because I've got to be done with that pretty soon. I need to, but tomorrow I'm hoping to be able to like take some time and really dump a few hours into it, sort of get back on track. But I mean, as far as like stuff I've been playing, that's pretty much it. I did manage to, so the preload for Valkyrie Elysium hit, and I did fire that up, but I basically only fired it up long enough to transfer my save data from the demo over.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to that. It's got sort of like a, it takes place in sort of like with that Viking mythology kind of vibe, and I'm pumped for that. Like I said, I've got to get some other stuff out of the way, but
that seems to be a pretty popular vibe right now.
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I'm playing an older game, and I haven't played it in a while, but Senua's Saga kind of takes a little bit from that too. So, and of course, God of War,
well,
kind of all over the place right now.
Well, and I think, like we were sort of talking about this, and we'll get into it, but like this is like,
sorry.
Well, I mean, it is sort of be the topic, but like this sort of feels like where Lofty was talking about, like it's about Lord of the Rings, and it's sort of like his vibe. I'm kind of like, this is the season. There are two things I like right now, and it's like I kind of want to, like, he mentioned Vikings. I like Vikings. I kind of want to be like a Viking. Also, like, I want to like kill some space zombies or something. Like, so it's like we are sort of rolling into like horror, but we'll get into that. But the forms must be observed. So yeah, my backlog score, I have no updates. I'm still at -5. Haven't beaten anything. Haven't really picked up anything. Although there is something I'm looking at. It's called Pawn Barian. It's a chess roguelite. I heard about it today, and it's basically like you get like cards that sort of let you do chess. I like chess, and so I'm gonna check this out. It came sort of like one of the guys from Into the Ether was into it, and he mentioned it, and I was like, all right. So I checked out the free version. I haven't played enough to like make a judgment, but like you can unlock the full version for like $5. And if I pulled the trigger on that, obviously it's gonna like affect my score, but my beatdown score is still at -5, and that sort of leads us into the next little bit. Like, for anybody who's been listening to the show for any amount of, well, not any amount of time, but for like the last year, that the backlog beatdown is the meta that we run. It's sort of a way that we gamify our purchases and our playing habits. but GG is the official app of the Backlog Beatdown. Our friend Charles Watson made it. We really like Charles. We really like the GG app. It's basically a letterbox app for your video game collection. You can create custom lists. You can sort of populate your feed with and see what your different friends on the platform are playing. You can rate and review games. There's all sorts of neat features there. And if you really, there's a free version, obviously, but if you really like it, it's you can get let me look at my note for $5 a month, I think. I could look at my notes, but I'm not going to. But it's like for $5 a month, you can get access to the elite tier, or it's like $50 a year. So yeah, it's worth checking out. We really like it, and we, it's definitely like we use it to track the beatdown meta. In other things that, hopefully you're like, it's this podcast, and we have a Patreon, and for as little as $1 a month, you can sort of get access to all sorts of neat things. Like you can, as a patron, you can nominate once a year. You can nominate a game for us to play, or you can nominate a topic for us to specifically talk about. You can sort of take the helm of the show, for that. And so there's that. There's early and access to all of our episodes. There's a video feed for the patrons. There's actually a patron exclusive podcast called the Bro Hang. And so
what do you do on that?
What's that?
What do you do on that?
We
just hang like bros.
We just hang like bros. I mean, like, dude, yeah. We did have some conversation about like Crocs and gym shorts and dirty flannels and like skinny jeans.
I was gonna say, like, if your patrons get the uncut version of shows, this ep is going to be absolutely bonkers.
Oh, dude,
they're used to bonkers.
Like
they're used to bonkers.
Like and the Bro Hang turns that up to like 11. It 11. Is all of the weird unfiltered stuff that we don't actually put on this show.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever said on the air that I'm a flat earther, so that's saved for that. I'm just kidding. I'm not.
It's on post. Yeah, man. Now, there's some other benefits. Like I said, there's a little more access to us, and you get a special, man, that really threw me off, dude. The flat earth thing, like, man, just totally high, like, totally.
People are paying money to get more access to you guys.
At this point in time, you'd probably be better off paying that money for us to shut up.
You should be. We have a Patreon where it's the opposite. We pay you.
Listen to all my proofs.
Oh, geez. But yeah, so and other things that we like and hope that you would like as well. We are proud members of the Playwell Network alongside Paul, the artist currently known as Techno Funk Boy Lytle, and Mr. West, the Henshin Dad himself, Ray. We love those guys. We love what they're about. We love the way that they approach content. And here's an ad or a spot from one of them. Check it out. And so enter.
So Josh, you read the Bible. You know the Earth is flat, right?
Absolutely, yeah, 100% with you 100% on that. Yeah, it was also created like 1 million years ago, flat, but 1 million.
Yeah, the dome and
exactly. We're all actually, it's a simulation if you actually think about it.
Okay, yeah.
We're all into video games here. How do we know that we're not being like controlled? We're all NPCs.
I hate everything about this right now. Like,
well, okay, slight tangent, but we were talking on the Discord the other day. So this was another thing that was in one of our bro hangs. So it kind of goes back to that. Is that I had mentioned how, like, for some reason in our bro hang we got on the topic of furries, and I don't know how it even happened. But I had once there was a Christian furry group, it might have been like the Reformed Furries or something like that.
What?
On Facebook. And so I went to join because I'm like, how is this a thing? Like, what is actually going on here? I went to join and there were like 12 members. Like it was super tiny, and then it asks you questions in order to get in. And so I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm out.
one
Like
family
I
from
don't actually
Florida.
want to be seen. And then the admin actually messaged me and were like, hey, we'd love to have you here, but you need to answer the questions to get in. And I'm like, oh no, they saw me. So I said that on the bro hang. And so in Discord, one of the brochachos called me out on it, and they were like, "You were lurking in a furry group. Just admit it. You wanted to
Does your wife know
lurk in a
about that?
furry
Is there
group."
something we need to
Right?
talk
Yeah.
about? Like,
Exactly.
I got to come up on Covenant Eyes.
Right, something like that. And I was like, no, totally. That's exactly what I was doing. I was
Yeah.
trying to lurk, and once I got seen, I got the heck out of there, because that wasn't the point. I'm just curious, like what,
Yeah.
like I don't understand this at all. And like, so you say you're Christian and furry, like what is the reasoning behind this? The reason I bring this up is because I mentioned on Discord, I'm the same way with the furries. I've watched a documentary on bronies, because that's another thing I don't understand. Like, what is the appeal of this? I watched a documentary on Second Life. There's actually a couple documentaries on Second Life, and I'm like, I don't understand. I love video games, but I don't understand this at all. And I watched I also kind of threw this in there, sort of as a joke, but similar. There's a documentary on Funko Pops, or the company that made Funko Pops,
Yeah.
and people go crazy over those things, and I don't.
Their
understand
headquarters
those
is
at
in
all.
my town.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
It seems like a really cool company. I just don't understand Funko Pops at all.
I'm
and
staring
people
at a bunch
freak
of Funko
out about
Pops
them.
right now.
That's cool. It's cool if it's your thing. I don't get it.
Yeah.
So all that to
I
say,
own,
I'm
like-
so sorry. This took so long.
I own like 2 or 3 Funko Pops, but it's like
Mhm.
it's kind of like almost like, to me, it's like similar to bobbleheads. Like actually, one of the Funko Pops I own is a Ron Swanson one.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you
Nice.
remember when Beanie Babies were all the thing in the 90s?
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's the exact same thing. It's like why
Yeah.
are we collecting Beanie Babies? It's just because they make them. Yeah.
Yes.
And like you buy them and it's a collection, like it's literally that.
Yes. I just think 9 times out of 10 they're ugly. There are occasional ones that I'm like, okay, that one's kind of cool.
Sure.
But anyways, the reason I say all of that is because the flat Earth thing is exactly the same thing for me. Is I've watched documentaries on flat Earth because I'm trying to, like, how are you so delusional that you think this is true? And I know that's pretty rude of me to say, but I'm just like,
that's
how do you
dude.
seriously like live
Yeah.
with it? Like, I don't like, how do you deny all these things, because there's so many implications
Sure.
of
But
this
that's
that, like,
it.
doesn't
They are
make sense,
they
so.
they are like living in denial.
Yeah.
Like that's it, bro. I mean, it's like they're
So-
denying sort of like the bald, like factual reality.
Yeah, I'm
For
not
some
convinced
reason.
anyone actually believes flat Earth. Like, just like I'm
That's
not
the
convinced
thing.
that like anyone is actually a Nickelback fan. You listen to it ironically, or because it makes you like part of an exclusive club, and you end up looking stupid.
Have you guys ever seen any of the birds aren't real movement stuff?
I
Yes.
saw the website. Yeah. And I
Yeah,
didn't
that's
go
the
much
one.
farther than that, because I'm like, I don't get it. Like, this is a massive troll, right? Like, how is this?
I'm sure
like,
they have
no
a
one
Facebook group
actually
you can lurk
thinks.
at.
Well,
Well, right.
the thing that's
The Reformed Birds Aren't Real group on
Yeah.
Facebook.
the thing that's funny about that, though, right, is that the dude who like founded the group, he's done like live, like sort of like interviews and stuff, and
Uh-huh.
just does not drop it at all. Like so it's like when you're watching these things, it's like if he is trolling or sort of just like doing this to get a rise or something,
It has to be, right?
it has to be like
Birds aren't real. What?
master's class in that. And if it's not, he's an unhinged lunatic. And I'm just like, and there's a part of me that's kind of like there for
We are
both of,
watching mental illness.
like there's a part of me that's kind of there for both of those things. I'm like,
Yeah.
is he insane, or is this just like the most epic troll I've ever seen in my life?
Yeah.
These
are the conversations we have on the
But
road.
yes, this is what
Sorry.
brohangs are,
Sorry
dude. They just
for
it's like
roping you into that.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's find the rabbit hole and see how far down we can go.
Pretty much.
Mhm.
Pretty
Like
much.
it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
But let's sort of let's just sort of roll into this, and I'll sort of, and we're back. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be like, hey, we really like Josh Lofthus, and we like when he's on the breakdown
Yeah.
because he's a cool dude and he sort of classes up
Mhm.
the joint. I mean,
Mhm.
you got Broccoli Josh, and then you got Nate
Heyo.
with his sort of weirdness. I guess I don't. Do I have any nicknames, Josh, that I'm aware of?
Underscore.
Oh, I am underscore, but that's
I did once call you Skeeve McKeeve, but I felt bad after I said
Yeah,
that.
I feel like we need to find you one, man.
well.
Yeah.
I mean, I
There you
have
go.
a ton of them, and just most of them are not repeatable in polite company.
I'm thinking of one right now that I can't say on your non-patron app. Yeah.
I like it already. Well, that's
like,
awesome.
I kind of want to know what this is.
You're gonna have to bleep it out.
I mean, we'll edit it out in post.
Yeah.
We can do
Okay.
that.
All right. Yeah. It's I just want to call you the Keever Beaver.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
It's not horrible.
one of my nicknames in high school was Beaver.
Yeah.
Because
Sure.
it rhymes with McKeever. And the
Yeah, of course.
girl who like came up to me and she's like, I'm gonna call you Beaver because your last name rhymes with McKeever. And I was like,
You're just like drama major. Yeah. I gotcha. Yeah.
yeah. It's like, and it's like one of those things where it's like I didn't hate it, but it was like
Sure.
it stuck.
Yeah.
Oh, it did.
Yeah,
Okay.
I also got the nickname Dickie.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Put-
not because
Just put those. I'm sure there's a name you could combine those two with, and it would-
Yeah,
Their
yeah.
story
Yeah.
behind them.
yeah, I've had, like I said, there are a number of nicknames I've had that some of them are just we don't in polite company. Anyways, so sort of getting this train back on its tracks. You're like, Nate, why has Lofty Josh graced us with his presence? Well, a while ago, he sort of threw a question at me, or at the at the podcast Twitter, and I liked it. I liked it a lot, and I liked it enough that I was like, I think we could do an episode on this, man. And so, and especially sort of as we're moving into October, so or as we like to call it around here, Spooptober, because it's a time for spooping your pants. Because yeah, oh man, I'm just evolving here, just like I'm turning.
Keep going, man. Keep going.
Loftus is like, just don't
doubt. Just keep talking.
Broccoli, you're gonna have serious work here to fix. But I'm gonna read the question and let's actually get into this. So Josh, you asked the question: do you play certain games during different seasons? If so, what are your favorite seasonal games? And that's
Favorite seasoning
Man,
on
that's
games.
That's a good question.
it is a good
Seasoning
question.
game?
He's the worst. Don't encourage him, Loftus. He goes for like the low hanging fruit and the dad jokes,
Like-
and I hate it.
That's right. That's
'Cause
right.
it's October. Are you talking about like pumpkin spice?
Pumpkin
You missed
spice
it.
Games. Yes.
I brought up
yes.
pumpkin spice
Cinnamon
lattes
games.
and white girls, basic white girls.
Ah,
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
So what's a basic girl video game? Is that what you were asking?
Oh, that's actually a good
No, I'm
question,
kidding.
though. Yeah.
What is a basic white girl
game?
video game?
Call of
Target
Duty.
and Uggs and Call of Duty. Oh shoot!
Basic white
He went
girl
there.
game. Yeah. Everyone plays it.
I actually like that answer a lot. Oh.
Boom! Episode's done. We got it.
Yeah, there it is.
Boom, roasted. All right.
Roasting like a turkey, and turkeys you eat towards the end of the year. They're good seasonal foods to eat during the Thanksgiving and Christmas seasons.
The scorn in my eyes right now. If anybody besides the patron could just see the loathing pouring out of me. The East Coast passive aggressive like
East Coast.
like I'm just like
Yeah.
I'm like, oh. But no, so and so getting back to the actual topic here,
Mhm.
because it's not like we haven't been derailed like 8 times in the last 5 minutes.
Mhm.
But Josh, Lofty Josh, rather, you said that, and you sort of kicked it off by saying like this kind of time of year, like you were just really feeling the Lord of the Rings stuff and the Lord of the Rings games, and
Yeah.
you shared a little bit about that in the backlog breakdown, but sort of walk us through some of that, like. I know and again, we've already established that it's autumn, it's fall for the plebes, or if you use it in Fat Guy Fall, like that's acceptable. That's actually the only hashtag we want
Right.
to see is hashtag
That's
Fat
right.
Guy Fall.
That guy fall.
But it's
Hot boy
You want to
summer
see
is
fat
over.
guys falling?
no, it's
I'm
Fat
so
Guy Fall.
confused.
It's like time for see. This is what happens when you show up late to the party, man.
We've already set the entire foundation for this sermon, and you walked
Ah,
in at like the conclusion, and now we're just telling you
yeah.
what you need to do, but you have nothing. You got no
Mhm.
context whatsoever.
No analogies to hook onto.
That's
Oh,
right.
but
Yeah, fat guy fall.
but like sort of like fill us in a little bit, like sort of like walk us through some of your process, like, so I know you said it's like nostalgia for you, but like what is it about this season, like this time of year for you, that really like sort of like, no, this is when I need to dig into this stuff.
Yeah, so I think it's a combo of a lot of things, and I think nostalgia has a lot to do with it. But when it hits so fall's my favorite season, just because I love everything
hmm
about it. It gets cooler, it gets dark earlier, the leaves start to change, you're starting to get kind of that pre-holiday feeling going on, so
Mm.
hmm hmm
fires and candles and good, just everything about it's awesome, right? So I automatically associate that with the things that I loved the most as a kid, which is primarily kind of all things fantasy. So Skyrim's really big
Okay.
into that. Lord of the Rings is really big into that. Um, kind of those two main things for me are like the things that I associate the most with this time of the year. So for some reason, I associate kind of high fantasy, Lord of the Rings type stuff with the fall or autumn season, right? I don't know why.
Okay.
That's just
Hmm.
for me how it is. So every time I come to this time of the year, I'm always kind of drawn back to that mentality. And I think a lot of it has to do with just the memories that I have it as a kid, right? Because
Mm.
me and my brothers would be up, on the back mountain of our property with our Lord of the Rings replica swords, and we're slaying orcs and dragons and all that stuff growing up as kids. And the
Nice.
best time to do that was during the fall because you
Hmm.
weren't hot, right? It was crisp, it was awesome, and you're out there and everything just looks like it's out of the Lord of the Rings. Everything's orange and
hmm
bright and yellow and all the different colors. So I'm just automatically drawn to like wanting to try to capture a small feeling of that, right? So for me, it's watching the Lord of the Rings, listening to the Lord of the Rings soundtrack. Same with um, Skyrim also, and so yeah, I got to this point of the year, and I was like, you know what, I haven't done in a long time is play through the Shadow of War games. I played all the way through the first one, and then when the second one came out, I can't remember what I was doing, but I think
Hmm.
either I'd either just gotten married or just out of college or something. I can't remember. I can't remember what it was, but I didn't have time to put the time into that second game that I wanted to. So I actually left the second game incomplete. And I've been like, it's been kicking me ever since. So, you know, fall came and I was like, hey, I like this. I want to do this. And I started the Shadow of War games, and I don't know. I think I'm trying to think of like other seasons. For some reason, I associate spring with Halo,
Mm.
and I don't know why, but I think it's maybe just because when I was in school, like I played a lot of Halo, so I just associate kind of
Okay.
like that, getting back to the grind of school and papers and research and all that stuff, and I associate that just kind of with Halo being the thing that I would do to just kind of relax and just not have to
hmm
think for a little bit. So I think spring Halo, I think fall Lord of the Rings, summer and winter. I'd have to think about it, but I'd love to hear you guys. Is that something that you guys do also, or is that just me?
Um, well, I'll sort of venture into this. So we talked about it like a little bit, but this time of year in particular. So like I get the sort of like the itch lately it's sort of like you mentioned Lord of the Rings, but like for me, this feels like Viking vibes. Like I mentioned Valkyrie Elysium, which you like it just came out, but the titular character, she's a Valkyrie, a chooser of the slain. Um, so it's like that, but it's like God of War Ragnarok. You mentioned Skyrim has like strong like Viking vibes. Like there's something about that where and even Valheim, right? That it's sort of it kind of like right now, like it's getting a little cold. And maybe it's just like the weather sort of reminds me of that a little bit. Like when you think of like the Vikings on their longboats, it's like the cold and the wet and the sort of the wind and like the contention with the elements, and it's just like I don't know, like that kind of like right now I'm like nah, I'm kind of like feeling that. I mean, the other thing that sort of obviously like pops up this time of year, especially as we're sort of nearing October, when everybody gets all spooky on Twitter and in the various places. Actually, I wanted to run this by you guys. Sort of, how everybody changes their handle in October to something like Halloween related. I was thinking about just changing mine like to Nate, but spooky, just to like, I don't know if that's like too dumb.
Nate _ McSpooky.
Yeah. Just like,
there it
just
is.
like,
There it is. Yeah.
There you go. Then we can just call you Spooks.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so, but anyways, the other thing obviously is horror at this point in time, like because as we're getting sort of like so you're entering into the Halloween, and I just like I love survival horror as a genre, and October is like the one year or the 1 month out of the year where I'm like I really kind of like give myself. I just like horror games. I don't like horror movies, but I like horror games, and so it's like October is definitely like that's like horror season. That's when like if I've got something like that's kind of creepy or it's gonna mess with me a little bit, like that I kind of I have to play it at home with the lights on in the middle of the day, curtains wide open. Yeah, like that's
Have you played The Mortician's Assistant?
no, what's this?
Yeah, play that in October.
I'm okay. I'm gonna look this up because
it is a trip of a game. Yeah,
assisting a mortician simulator.
That's
I
right.
like it.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. It's worth. It's even just worth watching someone do a playthrough on YouTube.
Okay,
it is. That game's got some spooks. Yeah, I think you'll like it.
So
sorry.
Mortuary Assistant, is that the one?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. That's it.
Okay. I'm pulling up a link to this. I'm going to check it out here in a little bit.
Do you get to name your character?
I don't think you do.
Can you call him Mort?
Mort the Mortuary.
I mean, you can. You can.
The assistant. Assistant to the mortuary.
That's right.
Mort. Mort Shroot.
And I guess, well, and sort of like sort of answering the sort of the second part of your question though, like, are there other seasons? I think, I don't know. I think maybe like spring and summer sort of feel like that's like prime dipping into like the massive, like 200-hour JRPG sort of like that,
sure.
that big, that's like the big time sink game where it's like, that's the one. It's like, I'm going to like dump 150 hours into this game. Like that's when it feels like it's time to kick that off. And I don't know what it is about that. It's probably the same thing with like, you know, Halo, where it's like, you come back from a college class and you'd like, so blow off some steam. Only I would go back, I would actually just not go to class, end up dropping out and playing like
gotta get my mage to level 60.
Yeah, dude. Gotta max out the party, bro.
You do. That's right. I gotta be the anchor for these people.
Yeah.
It's nostalgia for all my bad decisions.
Yeah, just reminds me.
Someone's got a Leroy Jenkins this game.
Exactly, man. Yeah. Like, listen, I tell people, it's like, listen, half the battle is knowing what you are, and it's like,
That's right.
you just gotta know your role and just lean into it.
Yeah.
I've actually, I was texting a buddy of mine, and I said between and we're in this. We're going to talk about like levels of nerddom here for a second. We're part of a fantasy critic league where
Okay.
Our video game scores like that generates the words. Okay. And but in the chat we have for that, like I tend to be a bit of a provocateur, a little bit of like
Sure.
almost like a wrestling heel. And so I did like a summer camp thing over the summer, and like my persona at the summer camp was like I was the heel, like I was like the
Yeah.
big obnoxious counselor, sort of like messing with
Sure.
people
Sure.
and being the bad guy. And I said,
You just embraced it.
yeah. And I said,
Yeah.
I've actually realized I've found my calling in life is that I was meant to be like a heel. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Sure.
so it's, anyways, but,
Yeah. I mean, I know it's like anytime I play D&D, I just know that I'm the big brute. Like I'm never the stealth guy. I'm never the mage. You know, I'm just the guy that walks around and smashes things, you know, and that's just like every time I've just embraced it. It's just who I am. And that's okay.
like, know your role. Just play to your strengths.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Play your
Broccolo, what do you got going on? Like, as far as like this question goes, how about you, man?
Well, okay, as you've already mentioned, you know, the first thing that came up in my mind was around this time of year, October, I like me some spooky games. I do like horror as a genre, not just like for the sake of slashers. I'm not big on that whole deal. Like gore for gore's sake, okay, it can be fun for a little bit, but I don't care to see that. Like, yeah, it's not a big. So I'm not like a fan of everything horror like some people tend to be. You know, I can take it or leave it. I like the horror that is honestly like trying to say something more that's more metaphor. So I like the message and the meaning in some of it. So anyways, when it comes to video games, though, yeah, October is definitely the time where I like to curl up with a nice spooky game. And you know, we do that here on the podcast. Last year it was a little different because we went a little psychological horror with some Doki Doki Literature Club. So that was a trip. But you know, ever since, geez, like before we even started doing the podcast, it was Resident Evil 4. You know, and then Dead Space and, you know, all that fun stuff. So definitely around this time of year, I like getting into a dark, scary game in some form or fashion, you know, whether it's just the trappings of that, or whether it's something that will legitimately kind of freak you out as you're playing it. It's always a good time.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that comes to mind. But as I think about it more, let me see. I would give me just a second.
Oh, he's dying. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, I got a tickle in my throat. I was trying to just roll through it,
dude. It looked like you were dying there for a second.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. I was thinking about it a little bit more, and for me, the summer is a time. You know, I live in Texas, so it's sweltering hot. You know, you're sweating all the time. You walk outside and you just automatically start sweating. And so for a time like that, I think of playing a fast-paced action game is something that really kind of that I go for when it's hot outside. So like this year it was Hades. You know, I thought that was a perfect game to play while I was on the elliptical because I'm moving and so in the game you're already like ready to just be zipping around and doing all this crazy stuff and not like taking it slow and taking your time but just go full bore into something you know, like Doom 2016 or something like that, you know, just something where it's not cerebral, it's just go, you know, it's what you see is what you get kind of a thing. I think I tend to that more in the summers. And then going back a little bit, so this is totally out of order, but I'm just kind of, as I was thinking through this, spring is more like, because we have tended over the past few years to kind of set up the games that I want to play every year, and I never like finish all the games that I want to. But I usually throw out a good like couple dozen games, 20 or so games of like, these are the ones I would like to get through for the year at the start of each year. And so spring is the time for me to like take a look at that list and be like, okay, what am I gonna knock out? What am I gonna start playing? So it's not even necessarily a type of game. It's more an approach to gaming of just like, I want to finish a backlog game. It's like, this is not the time to buy the latest and greatest and do all that stuff. No, this is a time to like hunker down and focus on like these games that I've had for a long time, that I've never played, that I've heard are like masterpieces. So this is the time. This is like, the award season for movies. This is the time for those games for me. Start off the new year with an experience that I have heard is supposed to be, amazing in the pantheon of video games. So those are just some of the kind of seasons. I think, it's funny you said, Nate, that spring, summer is more of a time for huge RPGs for you, because I would bump that towards the end of the year when it's cold out, when you just want to kind of curl up next to the fire. We don't do that here in Texas. I mean, we do it occasionally. We actually do have a fireplace. I don't know
Just
why that is.
forest fires. Curl up next to the forest fires.
Yes, exactly. Go outside, yeah, burn a tumbleweed and let that go. And you go horseback riding to your fire out in your 10-gallon hat. No, I live in Austin. It's a big city. So I think of curling up with a nice JRPG. So as opposed to the summer where it's like, just jump into it, just go 100 miles an hour. I think of like, okay, let's take it slow, nice comfort food. You got your hot chocolate, sipping on your hot chocolate, and let's play some Dragon Quest, man. Let's go on an adventure kind of a thing. Last year it was Shin Megami Tensei 5. It's like this huge game that I'm just going to explore for a while. That's kind of the mood that I'm in. And maybe that's why I chose Dragon Quest 2. I don't know. So those are some of the seasonings that I like with my video games.
Yeah, I do think it's a little interesting that we sort of land in different spots there, where for you, winter is more of the JRPG thing. And then for me, it's more spring and summer. But one of the things I thought was like, well, also like, our paces of
I just always play JRPGs.
Well, our paces of life though too are a little different, because like November, December sort of kicks in, and that's really like my busy season. That's when I don't have a ton of time to invest in anything, like, because like Pete gets kicked off in the post office and my life just sort of like disappears. So but yeah, whereas during spring and summer things tend to be a lot more open, and it's like that's when I can. So it's just, even there it's sort of interesting to sort of like dig on that. I think too, Lofty, like I'm just gonna call you Lofty, because I mean, I hope
that's okay. I'm very used to it.
Okay. But Lofty, when you mentioned the sort of like just like the feeling nostalgic sort of thing, like I kind of was thinking about that too. And so much of it is framed by nostalgia. Like, as we're talking about this, a lot of this is like framed by the patterns that we've created for ourselves. Like, so for you, it's like this time of year sort of just takes you kind of want to go back to your childhood a little bit. You want to sort of like, find a way to grip up on some of that. You mentioned when we did the backlog report that you've been listening to a lot of like, 80s and 90s CCM, man. And,
yeah.
And it's like, you're sort of like, it's almost like this is like nostalgia drip feed for you, like season. And you're just like, no, I'm just gonna eat it up. Like, and I don't know. I just think it's sort of, even in that question, it sort of gives us the opportunity to sort of examine and look at some of this stuff and maybe sort of poke at it and say like, hey, why do I want to play these games at this point in time? And and I don't know. I appreciate just the sort of the little bit of examination here. I mean, like I said, and even sort of like looking at like the Viking thing for me, right? So it's getting colder. I have to start like gearing up a little bit more. It's getting wet. I'm going to have to contend with the elements. And now I'm like, no, I need to like sort of find a way to inhabit that space. Like I need to like, I need to find a way to mentally and psychologically prepare myself to like do battle with the elements, to like, you know, take the war to Mother Nature. And actually, it's a losing fight because when it rains, I'm like, I'm defeated and miserable. But it's just like I said. I think it's one of those sort of like this is sort of an interesting little conversation. Do you guys really have like anything else you sort of want to tack onto this, or do you think that we needed to hit that we kind of missed out? I mean, besides like the declaration that Call of Duty is the basic white girl games, white girl
Yeah.
game. You know, Call of Duty is the pumpkin spice latte of gaming. It's kind of gross, but we all love it.
Yeah. I mean, everyone drinks it, right? And everyone takes their like, you know, Instagram shots with it. Everyone's excited about it, but at the end of the day, you like compare it to like actual coffee, and you're just like, yeah, it's not great, you know? Like it's really not. It's just not there. Like I eat it, I play it, but it's really just,
Mistakes were made.
you know, mistakes were made, and you know, we see it for what it is, right? Call of Duty knows what it is, and it embraces it.
Yeah. I would say Call of Duty is the basic white girl of console gaming, because I would say it would more tend to, because I don't see basic white girls playing much Call of Duty. I would say the basic white girl video game all over would be more like Candy Crush, where it's
Ooh,
like,
okay.
you know, like
Or
like
Animal
it's
Crossing.
addicting. It will. Oh, I like me some Animal Crossing.
No, that's because you. Oh no,
You just got me.
basic.
Candy Crush. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I guess farm simulators, that is kind
Yeah.
of along those lines.
Yeah.
Oh man, but I do have a soft spot for those.
I mean,
sure.
again, like, I mean, everyone, like, you still drink the pumpkin spice latte, right?
Yeah.
Like you know what it is, but you still
Yeah.
drink it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Me personally, I don't drink coffee, and so
Ah.
like my wife loves pumpkin spice lattes, so I need to
Mhm.
think up like a different metaphor for me. It's you know, it's like the basic Red Bull. That's what it is.
Ah.
Dude, I'm
Yeah.
all about
It's like it's like a Gurkha cigar for me. It's like an acid. It's like smoking an acid. It's just, I absolutely despise it. And everyone that smokes acids are a particular type of person. I'm ripping everything right now.
It's my wife. You're
Yeah,
taking
hey,
shots
you know,
at my wife.
yes. Hey, friends don't let friends smoke acids. Okay? Where it's at.
Oh
Right?
no,
If you
man.
like,
I
yeah.
I actually with my latest order, I actually did just order her like she likes the little blondies because like you go out burn them in 5 minutes
Oh,
or whatever, and
yeah.
no, but I have been
There you go.
the what is it Oliva does the nubs,
Oh yeah. Yep.
so
Leave nubs. Yep.
we got
Yep.
a sampler of those, and she does like those too. So
There you go.
well, I guess sort of like, you know, there wasn't a ton of like super in-depth conversation here, gentlemen, but that's okay. You know, I mean,
I do have one
Sometimes it's fun.
kind of curveball, if you don't want to, if you don't
okay,
mind
okay.
me slipping in here before we head out. So we're talking about seasons, but often even what we talked about, October, you know, it's spooky time. Seasons are also driven by holidays. Are there any holiday games that you can think of that feel particularly special? The holiest of games for the holiest of days. Not really.
Oh
Not really.
man,
That's not
a
true at all.
question.
But I'm thinking, like, you know, is there a Christmas game you go to? Is there a Thanksgiving roast game that you love?
I mean,
Or, you know,
I don't know.
for the basic white girls, is there a Valentine's game? Wow, I can't even say it. Valentine's Day game. You know, Saint Valentine.
well, I mean, the kind of mean, maybe like a little petty answer is like, for all the single dudes out there, there's a ton of like dating sim visual
Oh my gosh.
visual novels.
There's always Persona, you know. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know, man. I was like on Valentine's
Those
Day.
guys are there. Those are the same guys in that 12 person Facebook group that Josh was talking about.
Oh no.
um,
You know what we need, guys? We need a game. We need a game we can all play together.
It's like where we all get girlfriends.
guys. Yeah, guys. It's just catfish. They're all catfishing each other. It's just one big awful
Ugh,
spawn.
I don't like it. Thanks. I hate it.
That's good.
Um,
If you liked it, it'd be an
we'd have serious questions at that point in time.
we would.
I like it.
But I don't.
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that. I think I have games that like I like playing around holidays, like I was talking about,
Mhm.
but I can't think of any like holiday centric games. You know, like you would
Mhm.
with like TV shows or
Right.
different movies. Yeah, I can't think of
Yep.
like a holiday centric game. Like every year, and I mean this is gonna hit a sore spot, but like Red Dead Redemption Online 2 online every year around
okay.
Christmas they would do a Christmas update where everything would be, all the towns would be like Christmasified and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked that aspect of it, but Red Dead Redemption 2 online is completely dead at this point, and that's just a sore spot that we don't have time to get into, just because the devs, they just decided to stop updating, stop making stuff for it, which is crazy stupid. Because it's a fantastic game, but they just decided like, yeah, the only thing we're gonna update is like cosmetics, maybe once every 6 months.
Gotcha.
But anyway, that's as close to answering that as I can get.
Is that would you say that like the Red Dead Redemption 2 online space is like sort of like when like you would get like it looked like a really sweet Christmas present and it turned out to be like socks and underwear?
Oh yeah, that's 100% what it is. And like, so what's funny is I was really heavy into Red Dead Redemption Online. I love that game. I played it with a friend of mine, and we just like we sunk all the time that we had into that. Right, it was awesome. And then, like I said, the devs just decided to stop updating it, stop putting new content out. And I think they're putting all their effort into the Grand Theft Auto 5 online or whatever it is, right? GTA Online. And I mean, obviously that's where they're making their money.
Yeah.
But like the whole Red Dead Online community, just this last beginning of this year, I think, held a Red Dead Online funeral on Twitter where everyone, like as many people as possible got into the game and took pictures of themselves in like, you know, the different towns' graveyards with the hashtag like rest in peace Red Dead. So my friend did that. We hopped in. That was like January, and that's the last time I picked it up, just because the devs just decided just to stop. So that's makes me sad.
No, dude.
Ouch.
Yeah,
that is kind of the worst when like there was a game, Anthem, that came out a while ago, and it was like one of those games that had like a ton of promise, but like it had stumbled at the start. But then there was like going to be this major revival. It's like Anthem 2.0. And I got into the game and I started playing it, and I was like, Anthem 2.0, I'm kind of excited for this. And then they were like, sorry, no, we're not doing that anymore. And I was like, oh,
worst, dude.
Oh,
yeah, they were gonna like revamp everything, but then they're like, yeah, not enough people are playing this, and it's just a bust.
Wow.
So wonderful. Speaking of anthems, actually, in Independence Day is what comes to mind for me. July 4th, Broforce. There's a game for you.
Okay. I feel that.
Explosions, 80s action movies.
Lots of bro puns. Indiana Brones, you know, the Brominator. Yeah.
America.
Yeah. Lots of America, killing the devil. Yes.
Yeah.
Like
as you do every July 4th.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my. Well, I think at this point in time, Broccoli Josh.
The devil is China, by the way.
China.
China.
Yeah, you gotta get China.
We're gonna build a wall around China. It's gonna be amazing.
We're gonna make them pay for it.
They already pay for it.
Oh boy, man. It's gonna be the best wall. It's gonna be the greatest wall.
I know walls. I do.
In China. I know walls, and I'm telling you, these are the best walls.
That's right.
Oh man. Man. Well, Let's
At that point, I like once the Trump impersonations start coming out, I think yes.
just land the plane. Just like
That's like we are sinking, and this is hell.
well, this is
Like you have to pull us out.
this is we are firmly entrenched in like the bro hang headspace, and this is when I know that it's
Right.
time to just sort of land the plane and end the episode. But you know, like I said, I thought this was a really interesting question. I think this is like, and I think this is going to be like a really great kickoff to to October at to Spooktober, whatever, just sort of in getting us to think about like the different times of the year and the different times of our life, like in sort of the different rhythms and the different ways that we engage with just media in general. So, as we're landing the plane, we have sort of like, again, we have the forms and they must be observed. But Lofty, thanks so much for your time. As usual, it's been a pleasure, my friend. But where can the dear listeners find you?
Yeah, so I mean, you can find me pretty much anywhere. I'm on, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, stuff like that. It's just at Josh Lofthus, so it's just my name.
Nice.
I'm on a couple podcasts. The Reformatory, that's my serious podcast. So we talk about the local church stuff from a Reformed Baptist perspective. Me and my co-host Jack, we talk, church stuff. We talk cigars. We talk, Marvel and DC, Star Wars, just whatever. We run the gambit, but it's always just kind of focused on the local church and encouraging the centrality of the local church in the life of the believer. And then I have my fun podcast with a guy named Ted Cluck. It's just called Cluck. And it's just fun. We talk about whatever we want to. Some
Because
days
you can.
Because we can. That's exactly right. Some days it's serious, and some days, most days, it's just pandemonium, and it's literally whatever comes out of our mouth. So you can find me on those. I appreciate you guys listening and reaching out, and it's always a pleasure being on the backlog breakdown with you guys. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So hey, real quick before we sort of really like dial this in and Josh and I sort of roll into our closing spiel, would you say that being on the breakdown clucks or sucks?
Oh, it absolutely 100% clucks. Every time I'm on here, it is a blast. It is fun. And what also cluck is for you to try out that mortuary assistant game, and I want you to stream it. I need you guys to get into Twitch. I need you to stream some games for Spooktober, and I want to see firsthand the faces as you play this game. That is, I am laying down the gauntlet. I am setting a challenge. I'm not a patron, so I have zero authority. Okay, I have zero authority whatsoever. But that is the challenge. I want to see you play the game, and that would bring me, possibly nobody else, but that would bring me so much joy.
If I can make that happen, man, I will.
Yes.
I will give you a heads up, and you can watch my horror unfold in real time.
I want to see it. Yeah.
What is going on? I just checked this out on Steam. There's like a syringe going into someone's gums.
Oh, dude, it is.
What is happening?
Just play it. You want a game that'll spook you and that's like very atmospheric. That game will do it.
Nice.
There's like, and it's one of those games that has like 6 different endings depending on what you do and how you play.
All right.
I will. Yeah. I'm gonna see if the PC will run it, and
there you go.
And if it does, I will guarantee at least one stream, at least one.
Okay, there it is. There it is. Make sure to tell me when it's gonna happen.
Yeah, for sure, man. But Broccoli Josh, where can they find us if this is like?
Oh yeah. Similar places to Loftus. We're on Twitter. Our handle's at @bbdowncast. You can email us, thebacklogbreakdown@gmail.com. We're on Instagram, instagram.com/thebacklogbreakdown. We're on Discord. There's a link for that in the description. And then on Facebook, we have our Facebook group, the #BacklogBookClub. And then if you want to say hi personally, I generally go by Broccolope online, and Nate goes by
Nate_McKeever.
There you go. Old spooks.
Old
that's how we
Nate_McSpooky.
Spooky. I like it.
But
I'll be looking out for that.
Yeah. Well, I think like I said, Lofty, once again, thanks for your time so much, man. It's been a hoot. It's been a
Mhm.
blast. But I think it's time to call it a night, gentlemen. One question remains for tonight. And Brocklow, it's we've done the thing that we came here to do tonight. In the meantime, what should they do?
Guys, keep beating down your backlogs, and we'll keep breaking down the benefits.
But it's spooky.
But spooky
But
benefits.
spooky benefits.
We beat down so many backlogs, it's scary.
That was mildly terrifying, but I'm scared.
Like this mortuary game. Whew.
Yeah,
Give it a go.
but
That is weird. It's like the uncanniness of these models look.
oh.
Yeah, it looks like a good time.
Yeah, if you want a game that'll make you feel something, that's the one.
Something warm.
Mm-hmm.
Trickling down my leg.
Yeah, it's trickling down your leg.
Oh,
I meant in your heart. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
oh man. I was I really did, as a parting shot here, Loftus. I really like Mike Rowe and his podcast the way I heard it.
Okay.
And they have a good bit of banter in that one, and him and his producer Chuck, they were talking about being grown men and having like basically the you can't really trust your body. It's like, oh, I thought that was a fart, or it's like,
yeah, exactly. Nope, you can't trust it.
But there's also been times where like they talked about just like they probably spent 15 minutes talking about pooping themselves, and it's
all the things we have to look for.
It's absolutely delightful in like the ways that like I found myself like laughing out loud. At one point in time, I was laughing so hard I started crying a little bit, and I was like, "This is what my life has become."
Oh yeah, this is where we're at.
So,
This is it.
well, I'm gonna hit stop.
Thanks.